Hello! Today I'm going to show you how to mend a sweater without any sewing. But first, before I start, I wanted to tell you about some new things that are happening in the studio. Plus, I'd like to know where you're watching from. Just put it in the chat. How's your day going? Are you feeling the springtime feels yet? So yeah, I am super happy because today it was kind of windy out, but I went for a really beautiful walk around here in Berkeley. And so yeah, it's definitely feeling like spring here now. So yeah, put in the chat where you're watching in from, and I will get on to the new things happening in the studio. So today I received a package from Stony Creek Colors, and it's this indigo that I've been really wanting to experiment with. They're a farm in Tennessee, and this woman, Sarah, has basically taken over a tobacco farm and has turned it into an indigo farm over years. And she's actually made it really work for her as far as scaling. So without further ado, I'm unboxing this lovely indigo. And see, I can't wait to actually play with it this week. So here it is. It's natural indigo powder. And I will open up the package and we can see what it looks like inside here. It's a really, really deep blue. I don't know if you can see that, but to make sure not to drop any on the ground. But it's this really beautiful, like super dark color. So this is going to be really fun to play with. So that is one thing that's new in studio today. And the other thing I'm really excited about welcome everybody, having in the studio is this brand new dress that's actually made out of organic linen. And so it's the Celeste dress silhouette that I launched earlier this spring, but now I've got it in linen, and it has the back tunnel and everything. It just looks beautiful. It's going to be your go-to dress for summer. It comes with a little belt, and it has pockets, which are essential at this day and age, and little 3/4 balloon sleeves with a little cuff and a neck slit and some gathers in the back. So yes, and also there are French seams on the inside, which is really beautiful, and it also helps to actually make it really durable. So I'm very excited about this dress. It's not going to be available on the website until end of this month, but I am premiering it at the American Craft Made show in Baltimore. And it will be dyed in all different colors, including this lovely indigo that I just showed you. So those are the two new things I've got going on right now. And I also, wanted to just talk to you about mending. So I've been working on this sweater, and there was one little hole that I had here that I actually sewed up, but now I've got this hole here. I'm just trying to mend this so that I can store it away for the winter. But mending is super, super important. The reason why I decided to do this live about mending is because, there's a really great nonprofit called Fibershed. And Fibershed has been started in West Marin, and there are now chapters all over the country. And basically what they do is they connect and create community around a micro-textile industry. So it's farmers, it's natural dyers, it's weavers, it's knitters, who all are connected through sort of an open source Fibershed. And what they're doing from now until October is they're actually having a mending challenge. So the essential thing is that mending is kind of like resistance to against the fast fashion industry. Basically, if you mend a piece of clothing and keep it out of the landfill, then you definitely reduce your carbon footprint of your closet. So I think that's a really noble cause. Without further ado, I will start to mend this lovely sweater, this hole. And what I'm going to do is actually needle felt. So I have my pieces here. This is a bit of wool roving. So I've got these, an orange one, kind of a melon colored one, and a yellow one. Wool roving is, if you don't know, wool roving is wool that's been processed but not woven into yarn yet. So it's very soft. They've carded it and they've dyed it. But yeah, so it's very easy to work with. The other tools I'm going to use are this needle felter, and then it also comes with needles and then a single needle here. So yes, it is a little dangerous. You probably, if you are just beginning, you want to wear some kind of glove that's like a gardening glove or something that's really protective. But yeah, so that is what I'm going to do. And the other tool that's super essential is the brush board. So this is the base that goes, behind the hole that you're actually going to be felting. And I decided to pick a piece of inspiration. So this is a vase it's a mid-century modern glass vase by a British glass artist named Daniel Baxter. And so it's called Drunken Brick Vase. I just think it's really pretty. So what I'm going to do is just some kind of alternating rectangles, keep it kind of simple, out of this wool. So you can see it just kind of worked out. So I will take my inspiration and I'll put it right here. So you can see where I'm going. And I'll just start felting. So the first thing to do is take this base brush board and put it behind here, behind the hole, and in the area that you want to be felting. And it just creates a great foundation for that giant needle. And then you want to pull off a bit of roving, about the size that you want your patch to be. And I'm just going to put it right over this hole right here. And you want to shape it into approximately the shape that you want it to be. So I'm kind of going for a quick little rectangle. And the idea is to, like if you wanted to do a carrot, you would start shaping it like it's the shape of a carrot. But the idea is to really get the edges first. So I'm just poking in here on the edges, keeping a straight line at the top, making sure, obviously, I don't poke my fingers because that would be really bad, especially on the IG Live. And you can actually kind of move the roving around a little bit if you want to fill in edges of the top. And then I'm going to move down here and just start filling in a little bit. You're kind of just massaging. It's almost like you're a human sewing machine because you're basically just kind of poking it in like this. If anybody has done any roving, I'd be curious, or any needle felting, I'd be curious to know if anybody's done any and what your projects have been. So you can just put them in the comments below. And let me just keep going with this. So yeah, you just kind of get your shape. Now I'm working down on the bottom, trying to get a little corner there. To the bottom. And then what you'll do when you get your essential outline is then you'll fill in the middle a little bit. It's pretty quick though, and it's actually really, if you're into graphic design and illustration, you can actually do some really cute designs. I've definitely seen a lot of animals, I've seen fruits and vegetables. Make sure it's kind of straighter. Yeah, and you can see how I'm kind of massaging it. So then I'll just loosely go through the middle because the larger tool, this tool, is a tool that will actually kind of tampen everything down, like finalize the design. Okay, so actually what's really cool is I know now that hole right there is filled in. So now all I have to do is take a pause with the board, grab my second color, and so wool roving. Again, I just picked this up at a local yarn shop. Yarn shops usually have a ton of roving. And then I'm just going to pull off approximately the same amount that I used for this. And if you feel like you've gotten not enough, you can always just add into it. It's not a problem. It's pretty forgiving. Okay, so that might be too much. Okay, so then what I'm going to do is just take this and fold the ends under and try to get an approximate, rectangle shape a little bit close to the other one. Okay, and I'm going to just do a little off kilter, and I'm going to grab my, first I'm going to just look at it just to make sure it's about the right size. But yeah, that looks pretty good. And I will put my brush board underneath. And just kind of massage the shape and then start with the long needle. And this time I'm going to start at the bottom because I want to make sure that I'm liking how the bottom shape is aligning with this new shape. So I'll start at this corner right here. And then I'm going to go up. And I want to kind of get a nice sharp corner, so I'm massaging the roving with my fingers and making sure my other fingers are not in the way of the needle, because that would be bad. And I'm going across. And then I'm going to go down. It's kind of a large clump here, so I can kind of massage it around a little. Okay, it's looking pretty good. This is wanting to come out. Yeah, it's essential to get the edges of your design first. And you can also use stencils if you wanted to use a stencil. You might, grab a stencil and draw the shape on the garment or whatever you've got. And then I'm just kind of loosely filling in a little. But I will, like I said, go over this whole thing with the bigger tool. Okay, so that's that. I'm liking that. And then I will take the lightest yellow, and do, yeah, I think I will do kind of a cube on the top. I like how sort of uneven it looks, like asymmetrical, and I like that it's a different shape altogether. So I'm going to pull off some yellow roving and create the shape with my hands, just approximately kind of folding in the edges. And I want it to be a little bigger, but not too big. And I do want it to be square though, actually. Okay. And I do want it to be kind of aligned with the orange, the darker orange. So what I'm going to do here is start defining this corner first, because that's kind of the most important one. Okay. I got my board. There we go. Something as well. All right, so I'm needle felting this lovely little patch for the sweater, and then I'm going to store the sweater away for the winter. And it will be fun to actually take it out when winter comes around again, and I probably will have forgotten that I felted this patch, for this hole, so it'll be a nice surprise. But yeah, I'm going to continue doing these mending lives, just because I do have a bunch of clothes that I need to take care of, and I think it's just important to make sure that we keep clothes out of the landfill and keep them in use. And even if you patch something up and you decide you don't want it later, if you give it to somebody, they might really love the patching. So yeah, I'd love to know what pieces you might have in your closet that you need to patch up. Okay, maybe this has inspired you to do some of the patchwork and mending. Okay, so now this is super fluffy, right? So what I'll do is take this tool, and actually the tool has a lock and unlock, so it's for safety. And what it does is the safety plastic allows these 4 scary needles to come out. So you have to really make sure that you're working with this brushboard in the back, and make sure that you keep your hands kind of far away. But what I'm going to do now is just tamp everything down and kind of make it a nice permanent patch. So this is how you mend a sweater without any sewing. And I encourage you to try this. It's super easy. It's not expensive. It's really fun. And you'll have your sweater forever. Great. And that is it. So then I take the brush board away, and you can see that underneath there's just a bit of fuzz that's come through, but the hole is right here, and it's completely covered up. So I've got a little patch sweater. So thank you so much for being on my live, and I hope this encourages you to do some mending yourself. And I'll see you next Tuesday here again. Again, don't forget that this lovely linen dress is launching at the end of the month on the website. And if you happen to be in the Baltimore area, it is premiering at the American Craft Made show there. And I will be there May 20th through the 22nd at booth 1802. All right, thanks for joining, and I'll see you next week. Bye.